lesson from the day in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the main event podcast.
Big Bad Harmon, what is up? We are back.
Johnny Fashion, Season 2, the main event podcast.
Woo-wee. Oh, boy. I'm excited. Welcome back.
That was just me rubbing my hands because I'm freezing.
It is so damn cold. Oh, my God. We couldn't.
John, you know why it's so cold?
I do know why. Seems there's a glacier rolling through Maine
Cold.
here. Oh, my
Blood
God.
runs cold, Johnny.
Blood runs cold. Yes. Yeah, very appropriate first guest.
How was that awesome? I mean, this is so cool. The first guest of Season 2, our buddy Ray Lloyd, Glacier. This is awesome.
Glacier. Yes. And then, of course, it is like subzero temperatures out right now.
Yes.
So, yeah, it is brutal out there. But yeah, man, this is fantastic. We're back for Season 2. And the whole... Well, not the whole thing, but for Season 2, we kind of have this vision that we're kind of, we want to branch out a little bit. We don't want to stick to just, having just, the locals on. We want to maybe branch out a little bit, get some people that maybe Maine has never heard of, never seen or whatnot, and get them on. Maybe
yeah, we've got a few guests lined up that we're not even familiar with. They reached out to us and wanted to be on the show. So
yeah, and so we're gonna learn something. You guys are gonna learn something. It's gonna be cool. And then obviously we're gonna have the local flavor on as per usual. So this season's gonna be a mixed bag. It's gonna be very fun. Gonna be a lot of new guests, some returning guests. It's gonna be awesome, man. I'm really, really excited about Season 2. And I'm
trying to think of how many non-wrestlers we had on the show last year talking about wrestling. It was quite a few.
And we're gonna have
just people that we've met at shows, people that we've met online.
Yeah, people that do like have a cool like little niche in the business that aren't like necessarily like wrestlers or performers, but
this show has become less about Monday Night Raw reviews and what WWE is doing, and more about the wrestling community as a whole. Of course we focus on our local shows, but we really just love this whole wrestling community. If you like we mentioned with Ray, there's just different layers to it. You can be as involved or uninvolved as you want. You can be the bitchiest Smark or the happiest Mark,
right.
And that's what we're all about, man.
Absolutely, man. And it's gonna be fun. Season 2 is shaping up to be awesome. What a great way to start it off with Ray. He is like the easiest to interview ever because he's just such a good speaker. And I think we said like 6 things during this entire interview. And
you have to hit a bullet point every once in a while, and he just runs with it.
Oh, he's the best
interview ever.
Easiest interview ever. He's the best. He is such a positive person. I don't know. Really, like our demographic is probably like people like our same age as us. So you guys will remember Glacier from WCW.
You may not have the fondest memories of it. I mean, it was a blatant Bischoff ripoff of the Mortal Kombat character, Sub-Zero, and that wasn't the only one he was planning on ripping off. You also saw it with Mortis.
Yes.
There was a couple other ones that he had planned that never really panned out, but it was supposed to be a whole big thing, like a stable of like video game characters come to life.
Yeah. And then like the NWO happened, and everybody was just so hot.
Killed it.
NWO
killed the whole gimmick.
Yeah, but for like I don't know, for like fans like Harmon and myself, like we really took appreciation to it. We like the technical side of it. Man, they were doing everything in the ring. If you watch like a Glacier Mortis match, they were doing every style of wrestling. They were big dudes. They were doing some power stuff, but then they were doing like high flying stuff. They were like heavyweights.
Yeah, they were doing some lucha stuff. They were doing
heavyweights doing cruiserweight stuff, which was crazy. They were wrestling outside the ring,
which is big now. It's a big thing now.
Yeah, very well ahead of their time. So we have Ray on. He's awesome. He had some big moments last year with the Joey Janella spring break. show, and then the Ring of Honor Battle Royal spot was huge for him, and he's become kind of like this indie darling now, kind of. And
Oh, I think Ethan Page is going to be mad that we didn't get him to say his name.
Yes, maybe
He's going to be upset.
Yeah, and him and QT Marshall have started One Fall Power Factory down in Atlanta. So we talk a lot about that and just the inner workings of that. It's really cool. It's interesting. I love what they're doing down there. It's really cool. Sounds awesome. So if we have any listeners down in the Atlanta, Georgia area, please look that up. Go check it out if you're interested in starting your career as a pro wrestler. So
yeah, and if you're already a pro wrestler and you're looking for a home gym, with some guys who know just a lot about a lot.
Yeah, knowing a lot about a lot. Yeah. That facility, it looks crazy. It looks amazing. Looks like an amazing facility. So and we get into all of that. We'll get into all that in a few minutes when we talk to Ray. Before we do, though, let's get into some quick plugs. As always, we'll plug ourselves. You guys can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at Main Event Pod. That's the name of the game right there, at Main Event Pod. We're on Podbean and iTunes. We have a hotline. If you guys ever want to text us a question, we'll read it on the air. If you guys want to leave us a voicemail, whatever you want, we'll play it on the air if you want. That hotline number is 929-260-3099. Get into it. We love hearing from our listeners, so dive on in. We have a Teespring store. Check it out. Just go to Teespring, type in Main Event Podcast. Something will pop up. Or it's on the top of our Facebook and Twitter pages. Just go there. You guys can purchase some pretty dope Main Event Pod t-shirts and hoodies. Hoodies still at a great price, $25. $25 for a hoodie. That's fantastic.
Yep. So, I need to get another one. I've got like mustard stains all over mine.
Beautiful.
I mean, yeah.
I love it. You're an animal.
I know.
We got to give a shout out to Strong Style Brand, strongstylebrand.com/main event pod. Enter code main event pod at checkout. You guys will get 10% off. Thank you to everybody who purchased something with our code this past holiday season. It was great. We,
mainly our wives and girlfriends, because we both got Strong Style stuff for Christmas.
Yes, friends and family members. Thank you guys so much. So very cool. Indie wrestling inspired apparel. They're the best over there. So check them out. They've got awesome designs.
Their shit is dope.
It is so dope. strongstylebrand.com/main event pod. And then we got a big show coming up, Limitless Wrestling. The World is Ours, January 19th, 7:30 p.m. at the Westbrook Armory. It's at 120 Stroudwater Ave in Westbrook, Maine. Tickets available at limitlesswrestling.com. Holy cow. Like the lineup on the show is insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I said Randy might be a little nervous that he's blowing his wad here this early in 2018.
Oh my god, like anybody who's anybody in the independent wrestling scene is like on the show apparently. Like, I mean, we won't run down the matches, but like it's just look it up. Go to Facebook, look up the events page. I mean, it's crazy. I'll say this: the main event is a 4-way between Josh Briggs, Ace Romero, Anthony Green, and JT Dunn. If that isn't enough to sell you on this show, I mean, holy shit! I mean, you've
got undercard matches involving MJF and Son of Havoc and well, not Son of Havoc, but
WWE NXT's Martin Stone is on the card. I mean,
David Starr. I mean, just the card is loaded. Tessa Blanchard. I mean,
yeah, it is the who's who of independent wrestling. So that is all happening January 19th. Buy your tickets now. They will not last. Limitlesswrestling.com. I mean, this show will sell out. I mean, I'm putting my mark of guarantee stamp on it. This show will sell out. Get your tickets before you cannot anymore. So that is it. Let's dive into this interview with Ray, right? God, I'm excited to air this.
It's got a good length to it. So And
Yes.
and then you're not gonna be able to edit any of it out because he doesn't stop. I don't think he took a breath the entire time.
I love it. I love it.
He must be home right now, just sucking wind, like blue in the face.
No way. He's the man. He's awesome. So, so guys, get into this. This is Ray Lloyd, aka WCW legend Glacier.
Yeah, good to hear, man. Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys, man.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New
man.
Year to you too, Ray. Big year for you, bud.
Yeah, it's been a good one, man. It's been a good one. So we're just starting off the new year down here in Orlando. It's a little bit colder than we're used to down here, so we're hoping that'll push on out of here.
Don't talk to me about cold, Ray.
I know it's in the 50s, and we down here in Florida, we think that's cold.
Oh my goodness.
We haven't seen positive numbers in like 2 weeks.
Well, I'll go ahead and shut up then.
Yeah, we're sitting in like -8 this morning when I finally, that was like 9 a.m. today. I was like -8. Come on.
I was gonna say that's when you woke up. When I wook up, it was -28.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Brutal. So.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. We just wanted to talk kind of what you're up to. You kind of had a crazy 2017 and 2018 shaping up to be, man, nothing but awesomeness down the pipeline for you, it looks like. So I kind of want to talk about that too. So let's kind of start in 2017. Man, you had like I guess the two big things that I remember, the two big like headlines were the Wrestlemania weekend, the Joey Janella Spring Break show, and then the Ring of Honor Battle Royal spot. Those were like two big like headlining catches that like you were on the internet a lot about it. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, Glacier!" You know, I mean, it was really, really cool, man. What's it like to make an appearance like that and get those kinds of reactions?
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what, looking back on it, it all, you know, the whole thing with WrestleMania, I was already booked on WrestleCon, so I had a good week planned that week already, because, you know, a lot of my buddies were going to be in town, like, you know, Dallas Page and stuff. Dallas was getting inducted to the Hall of Fame, so that was really cool, and so I was looking forward to that. And only a few weeks, I think, before that was when Joey Janella's whoever was helping him kind of put the show together contacted me, and honestly, you know, I had not really heard a lot about Joey. I kind of heard his name, you know, batted around a little bit, but I didn't know much about him. I had no idea that he has apparently, you know, a pretty good following on social media, and so when they offered that, said for me to do a midnight show, that what I'd be willing to do a midnight show, I thought, wow, I don't know about that, but I thought, it's right here. You know, we agreed on a pretty good rate, you know, for it, and you know, and Dan Severn was going to be on the show, and back in my UWFI days, I kind of crossed paths with Dan back then, so I was kind of looking forward to maybe just seeing him real briefly and catching up, and so yeah, it was. And I had no idea. I had no idea that there would be that kind of crowd. I had no idea I'd get that kind of reception, which was just humbling to say the least. But it really just, I don't know, it sparked something back inside of me that just, you know, that said, you know, like, wow, I mean, you know, maybe this run's not over yet, you know? And then, of course, one of the best things that came out of it was I met Brandon Stroud, who Brandon is with Uproxx, you know, the online magazine out of LA, and he covers he heads up, I guess, all the wrestling news that they produce. And so, and I went with Paige when they were going to interview Paige for his WrestleMania, you know, week and Hall of Fame week. And then lo and behold, I found out that Brandon tells me that he was like just the biggest Glacier fan in the world when he was a kid. And, so we struck up a great friendship right there, which you know, I was pretty thrilled and that he was, and that meant a lot to me that he, you know, kind of shared that with me. And he's a great guy, and his team that he had with him, all great guys. And we all got to know each other over the week. And, you know, and he just basically said, hey, look, you know, with the story that they did and the documentary thing they did, he just said, you know, hey, would you mind if we kind of maybe do a story on you? And I just said, you know, Brandon, I said, man, I would love to. I said, but so many times when I've agreed to do the story, and I'd actually just come off of an incident a few months before that where you know, a reporter called me, wanted to do a story, and I kind of reluctantly agreed. And the guy, you know, approached her like, "Hey, we'd like to do, you know, kind of a walk down memory lane. It's been, you know, over 20 years since you debuted, blah blah blah." And the article just wasn't written the way that a lot of it, you know, it just wasn't written the way it was made me look, or the gimmick look, you know, in a way that I thought it could have been done better, I guess is a good way to say it. And I'm the first one to say, hey, look, you know, there was a lot of controversy when I came out back in the day, but that was the main thing was I said to Brandon, you know, Brandon, I said, you darn right, man. I'll sit down with you and we'll do the story as long as you can promise me that you'll tell the story the way I want it to be told. And he said, well, the best way to do that is you tell it. He said, we'll just video you and you tell it. And I said, well, great, let's do that. Yeah. And so, yeah, that all came about. And Brandon and I have remained great friends, and, you know, which is awesome. But, and then, of course, you know, when I do seminars all across, you know, the world, really, one of the main things I tell people is, you know, that pro wrestling is just like anything else. If you want to climb the ladder, one of the most important things you can do is learn how to build relationships. And because that old saying, you'll meet the same people, you know, coming back down the ladder that you do going up. And I always say one of my favorite quotes that I get from a college coach of mine is, it's not necessarily what you know or who you know, it's who's willing to say they know you, who's willing to put their name out there. And usually that comes down to a couple things: your work ethic and your attitude. And so, and the reason I mention that is because at a seminar that we had put on in Atlanta for our wrestling school, and of course I'll talk a little bit about that later if you guys want, we brought in Delirious. You know, and Delirious is the head of talent for Ring of Honor, and he and I hit it off right off the bat, and we spent the whole weekend, you know, with the seminar and just kind of becoming good friends. And so lo and behold, you know, a little bit before the Honor Rumble, you know, he contacts me and says, "Hey man, I got an idea." Says, you know, how about, you know, you being the surprise 20th entrant in the Honor Rumble? And I was just like, you know, I think I said yes before you even finished the sentence. So, so yeah, you know, it was, but even then I still, you know, went in kind of reluctantly, like, gosh, you know, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've been on network TV. I don't know how this is going to go. It can go really good, hopefully, or it might go really bad. It might fall real flat. Who knows, you know, but I took a chance, and thank God it all worked out great. And yeah, I mean, and it just kind of pushed me through. What I've realized is that, you know, with the Glacier gimmick, you know, and keeping the attitude I've kept over the years with it is, you know, through some even though a lot of through the 90s WCW was great, there was some rocky roads there too because of, you know, just it being such breaking new ground. But the thing I realized is that, you know, it's kind of become like a little bit of a pop culture phenomenon. I think it's kind of coming all back around again, which is really, really cool.
Yeah, it's funny how stuff like that works. Like, I imagine that you kind of encounter fans, you know, maybe that are the same age as like Harmon and I, and we have that nostalgia, you know, from watching like Nitro one night or something.
35.
Yeah, we're 35. But then, you know, and then you know, at some of these shows, there might be kids, you know, younger or young kids that, you know, maybe never saw those days of yours. And now this is all new to them. And they're like, whoa, this thing is crazy. Like, this is a cool, and they might not even know what like the Subzero Mortal Kombat thing is. So this is like all kind of cool and new to them too. So
I work with a guy like that. I'm like, yeah, no, Glacier, it was like Subzero from Mortal Kombat. He goes, what's Mortal Kombat? I'm like, oh my God, you're way too young.
Yeah.
Next thing you're going to tell me you don't know who Nirvana is.
Oh boy. Yeah. So you mentioned the school. So I definitely want to talk a bunch about that if you don't mind. You and QT Marshall, you guys started One Fall Power Factory down in Georgia.
Yeah.
So I've heard you guys. So you guys are claiming that it's Atlanta's premier pro wrestling facility, and it's one of the best in the world. And I'm seeing, like, from the videos and the pictures and the affiliation with the Chip Smith Performance Systems, those claims seem to like check out like extremely accurately. Because I mean, the place looks incredible. Yeah. It looks amazing, man. Tell me a little bit about One Fall and what you guys are all about down there.
Yeah, you know, and I'll try to, you know, summarize it as, you know, as briefly as I can. Excuse me, I'm like you. I think I hear Harmon coughing there. I'm getting over this. freaking cold. I mean, this cough that I can't seem to shake. It's been around for a few weeks, so I apologize if I break into a coughing fit. But but no, I've known QT for quite a while. We met down here in Orlando, and he's just an amazing guy. Him and his wife both, they're also his wife. They've known each other since they were kids. They're just salt of the earth, great people. And I knew that from the first time I ever met QT. I knew he was just one of those guys. I mean, just something about him. I mean, he was a class act guy. He carried himself in a way that it just cut above what most independent wrestlers carry themselves. And that's not a knock on anybody else. It's just that he seemed to somehow kind of know the importance of that, which I think is one of the things that a lot of younger wrestlers, they don't know the importance of it yet. And which is one of the reasons why we decided to do the school is to teach that kind of stuff. But yeah. And so when he of course is a product of two great wrestling schools. He came through the Monster Factory, and then he moved down to Orlando here, and he studied with at 3D Academy, with the Dudleys, and so he's world class as far as his training, and he of course has absorbed all that, and he's wanting to share that with people. So he called me, and he basically said that he was thinking about opening up a school in Atlanta. We talked for a long time, and there was that one time he was thinking he might, just open up a kind of an extension of the Monster Factory. And I just said to him, you know what, QT, this is something I've always wanted to do as well. Why don't we, as great as that would be, because we would have had instant recognition because Danny Case does an amazing job promoting the Monster Factory. And,
that's out of Jersey, right?
Yeah, Jersey, yeah. And I just said, but if we're going to do this, why don't we build our own brand? Why don't we start a new brand and just build our own brand and see where we can go with that? And that way we're not, we don't have to answer to anybody but us. And we agreed. And so we opened up actually originally back earlier this year we found there was an amateur wrestling club in Atlanta, had a space. We rented a space there, and QT started. And I'm still based out of Orlando, but I go back and forth. I'm going back later this week to Atlanta. I try to go back a couple times a month to be there as well. But and I told QT, I said, man, look, I'm all in 100%, but I ain't moving from Orlando. I love the sun too much down here, But I worked hard to get here, I'm not leaving. But it was just we had a space. It was a nice little space. We were kind of leasing with an amateur wrestling club, and I just knew there was more we could do. I just thought, this is not really my ultimate goal of what I want to do with this thing. I want to take it bigger and better. So I started talking to Chip Smith, and Chip is one of the closest people. I mean, he's family to me. And a lot of people throw that around. I mean it sincerely. I've known Chip since I was about 15 years old. He's the closest thing I have to a big brother on this planet. And he has been everything you can imagine. He's been a role model, a coach, a trainer, a mentor, a critic. But most of all, he's been one of my best friends, for almost 40 years. And he's someone that I'm very, very close to. I'm close to his whole family, his wife, his 4 kids, everybody. And so he is, and I always tell people, if you want to know who Chip is, just Google it. Just Google Chip Smith. It's a pretty simple name. But Chip has spent his life. He was a former pro athlete. He's in the Sports Hall of Fame of Liberty University where he played ball. But Chip is he's known as what they call the godfather of sports performance training, which basically means, he is a guy that does sports specific training for whatever your sport is. He's a guy that's really pioneered so much of what everybody does now across the board, all NFL teams on down. And he was the one who was doing it way before anybody else. So, he's now, of course, fast forward to where he is now. His facility in Atlanta is considered, the best you'll find anywhere. It's 43,000 square feet. And if you can imagine how big that is. And world-class facilities inside where we have our ring set up now in the area is 85 yards of world-class indoor AstroTurf for us to do the training outside of the ring, which is the conditioning drills and things like that. So we have, access to all of his equipment and everything else. And the main reason that we decided and Chip decided to come into a partnership with us is to do something that's really never been done before. And this is the one part that I was really excited to talk to you guys about is, of course, we're going to be open to the public to train what we call the dreamers. And I don't mean that as a knock on anybody. I was a dreamer. That's what got me into wrestling, you know. So QT was a dreamer. That's what got him into wrestling. So, you know, those people that come into wrestling, you know, but we're very honest with them. And I always tell people, like, pro wrestling is just like anything else. If for some reason people don't think it is, there's only a very small percentage of people that get into wrestling who make it to that top level to where they have a full-time career doing this, whether that's WWE, New Japan, Ring of Honor, whatever, you know. And so to get to that top level, you want to do everything you can to increase your odds, everything in your power. So that's what we want to be able to provide for the, you know, the trainees that come in, you know, that find us that are, you know, we get off the street, so to speak, that come to us from hopefully all over the world here. We have already gotten people that have moved to Atlanta already in the brief time we've been open. But the other main reason that we decided to partner with Chip and why it was appealing to Chip, because obviously Chip looked at it like, okay, wasn't it for me? You know, and so when we sat down, the idea that we presented to Chip, and once I threw it to him and let his wheels start turning, what I know him, I knew he would, you know, really probably bite on the idea because I thought it was a very good idea and something never been done. Was to actually put together a training program, because he's known worldwide for NFL combine training. He trains the best of the best college athletes, gets them, you know, January through March, gets them ready for the NFL combine. So, and he's trained, you know, nearly 2,000 NFL athletes, which is, everybody from Champ Bailey, Brian Urlacher, Jared Allen. I mean, people at that level, you know, and so when you walk in there anytime during the next 3 months, you could see any world-class college football player they're training to get ready for the combine. So that's the level of athlete he deals with. But most people, and he does every other sport as well, but he's mainly known for NFL training. But what most people don't realize is that, you know, especially in the NFL, you know, careers are only 2 to 3 seasons long. That's the average career. And so here are a lot of these world-class athletes who finish their football career and they're like, okay, well, what do we do now? You know, okay, I guess we go into the real world, but if they had another option, they would probably look at it. A lot of football players I know are wrestling fans. So what we came up with was a training program to where we're going to be able to present to those world-class athletes, whether they're football players or whatever, to say, hey, if you are interested in doing this, you know, we'll put you through our program, you know, use about a 3 to 4 month program and get you ready for a tryout for whether it be with ultimately WWE or Ring of Honor, New Japan, whoever. We have so much strong ties to all of those. And so I went down 3 months ago. I went to the Performance Center because obviously I'd never seen it, so that I was able to get invited there, which is awesome. And have you guys been to the Performance Center? Have you guys had a chance to go?
No.
WWE Performance Center? Well, let me tell you, it's an impressive sight. And but of course, you know, Terry Taylor is someone that I've known for an awful long time. He's a trainer, of course. Steve Carino is a great friend of mine. You know, a lot of those, Norman Smiley, who was, you know, one of my former partners at WCW. So, you know, I was able to go spend a day and see their facilities, met their sports performance coach. He already knows of Chip, which was no surprise to me, and was kind of excited to kind of hear what we were putting in place. So that's the ultimate goal, is to be able to maybe hopefully bridge a gap with WWE and with Ring of Honor, with Impact Wrestling, with New Japan, any of those companies, to basically present them world-class athletes that can train in our facility, and we can train them specifically on how they need to be training for a tryout or whatever, so that they can hopefully maybe shorten the learning curve a little bit, and it's a win-win for both. I mean, if we get someone who can move to our program, that we can say, you know, we put our stamp on, and then maybe someone who gets maybe fast track to a tryout, you know, that's coming from, you know, pro football, pro basketball, baseball, whatever.
I love that idea, man.
3 cone drills on one side, take bumps on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so awesome, man. That it kind of reminds me of like how mixed martial arts has kind of like developed. Like back in the day, like the early like UFC days, you would get guys that were just really good like fighters. You'd get guys that could throw a punch and maybe, you know, have some knockout power. But then as like it progressed and evolved, you had guys like coming out of college that were like just really good athletes, you know, and then they turned like athletic guys who didn't really have a place to go into mixed martial artists. And I think that's really cool. That's similar to what you guys are doing. I love that idea of taking someone who is a world-class athlete and saying, hey, like, you know, maybe your NFL career, you know, lasted 2 seasons and you didn't make the cut or something, but there is something else that you can do. And with your talents. That's very cool. I love that idea, Ray. That's awesome.
Yeah, and the other thing that I didn't realize is that when I was meeting with the higher ups there at the training performance center is that that they are their ultimate goal eventually, and it's no secret. I mean, they're looking to really expand their global market to where they have more wrestlers from other countries that they can push, like from India. India is a huge wrestling country now. They love wrestling. All of a sudden overnight, it seems like wrestling the biggest thing over there. And they're, the Chinese athletes, there's like several Chinese athletes training at the Performance Center right now. So once the guys there found out that Chip actually also, he, over the last several years, has worked specifically with the Chinese Olympic team. Before the last Summer Olympics, he went back and forth every other month, for a month, trained, so many athletes. I think there was 34 gold medalists. He trained like 21 of the 34 gold medalists. So I mean, his scope is just, it's so far and above what anyone else has. And so they were really attracted to the idea of, hey, this guy may be, kind of someone who can help us bridge that gap even better and faster. So yeah, it's going to be a wild ride, guys. I'll definitely keep you updated.
That's amazing. I mean, we follow you on social media a lot. We follow the One Fall like Facebook page and Twitter accounts and stuff. So, and it's awesome and interesting what you guys have coming down the pipeline. So you said that is it or is it not like kind of open to everyone? Like, how does one attend the school? Is there like a tryout, or is it just kind of like a pay your dues kind of a thing, and then you can just start training? Like, are there entries like that?
Yeah, great question. Here's the great thing is that our doors are open to anyone who's chasing a dream to want to become a pro wrestler. The great thing is, though, that Chip's facility is not a public facility; it's a private facility.
Gotcha.
I mean, you have to be, so it's kind of yes and no. But our facility is. We always say that if there's anyone who's interested, just contact us. Right now through our Facebook page, which is One Fall Power Factory. I'm meeting with a social media team here to put together a website that we're going to be able to hopefully launch here sometime later this month. But yeah, it's just contact us directly. What we like to do is basically bring someone in. If it's something where we need to do it over the phone or through Skype, we can do that. But just do a basic interview. One, just to find out, because I'll be honest with you, and I don't mean this bad at all, but QT and I both, and like any coach, I mean, I just want to make sure someone's serious before we start down that path, because a lot of people think they want to be professional wrestlers. And once they see what all is involved in it, all of a sudden they go, wow, I didn't know it takes all that, and so even though our main goal is to create an environment where we can give you the best instruction and have a great time doing it. I think you guys know I'm a super positive guy. I come from that place of let's work hard, and I'm gonna push you as hard as I can, but I'm also going to be there to support that. I believe you get a lot more accomplished that way than trying to break people down, emotionally and verbally and things like that. But the thing is that it's going to be a lot of hard work. Are you willing to put that work in? Because if we're going to put the work in, we need to know that, we can't guarantee success, but we want to know that you're going to put in the work as well. So yeah, there's a process there. I'm really big on, even QT and I are talking now about doing kind of like a trial period for like a month, just so we can see if someone really is serious in it and reevaluate at the end of that month. If they're not ready for it, doesn't mean they won't ever be ready, but we want to be able to say, hey, look, you know what? Right now, it doesn't seem like you're serious enough about this, So yeah, we're not just opening up the door saying, hey, if you ever want to be a wrestler, come hang out with us.
Right.
Right. Well, it's kind of like the old episodes of Tough Enough. The first couple episodes, they would, work everybody out pretty hard and see who would just give up. And guys that made the final cut weren't necessarily, the fastest, strongest, most athletic guys, but they were the people that didn't quit, people that wanted it.
Yeah. And what we found too, and it's, it's a process. What we found is that, of course, we have a program in place for someone who just says, hey, you know what, this is what I've always wanted to do. I don't have a lick of experience. How can I get started? We have a program, but, we'll start, with from that point on, it's right out of the gate. And of course, there's a fee set up for that. But what we have found, which has been our kind of a surprising response, is we set a fee, like a monthly fee, for people who have already been trained, who are on the independent circuit out there working right now, to give them a productive, supportive, safe place to come train, just to hone their skills. And what we're finding is there's tons of people out there that have been looking for that, and just a place to just go, maybe work on a new move or just get some reps, outside of, actual working on shows. So that's been a big thing for us too. And I think that's going to continue to be a huge part of our membership is people coming in that have already gotten some basic training somewhere else. And what they're finding is, because QT, he's very big and I'm very big on the fundamentals. I don't care how much you say when you come in, we're still going to make you go through the fundamentals. And if you're not cool with that, then this is just not going to be a good fit for you.
and there are other schools that are doing that too. Like I know Brian Fury does that with his school, the New England Pro Wrestling Academy. I know the XWA Academy that Mike Bennett puts on. They do that. Guys can just become a member really, and then you can just use that as your home base. I know like Warbeard Hansen and Flip Gordon. They still go to the New England Pro Wrestling Academy, and
absolutely. And listen, I'm the same way. I get in there. And I'm going to do the fundamentals, and I've been doing this for quite a while. But you can never do the fundamentals enough. And I always say to any of them, I say if they balk at that, most people don't. But if I see them give me a kind of a look like, oh God, why? I give them a perfect example. I said, have you ever been to a pro game? You ever been to any pro sport and got there early enough to watch them? What do they do when they're warming up? The fundamentals.
Yeah.
If they're making most time in there and they're doing the fundamentals in football, baseball, basketball, whatever. Why do you think they're doing it? Because it works.
Yeah, I was a big baseball kid growing up, and I had like two guys that I like really paid attention to growing up playing baseball. That was Wade Boggs and Cal Ripken Jr. And one of my favorite like Cal Ripken Jr. quotes is practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. And it's perfect, because it's fundamentals. You do the repetitions over and over and over again, and it just becomes second nature. So I definitely
and one of the and that's one of my favorite quotes too. And one of the other things that I'm big on is because I kind of took a break from when I wasn't over the last few years. I was out on the indie scene as much as I would like to be, and I wasn't watching as much wrestling as I would like to be, because it just didn't seem to appeal to me. Now I'm forcing myself to, just because I want to see what the younger generation is watching, so I can relate to them. But one of the things that I say all the time is, and I'm correcting it constantly, is I always say, just because you see it done a lot doesn't mean it's right. And there's a lot of things done on the indie scene that have kind of worked their way into matches that stuff that just frustrates the heck out of me, because there's no rhyme or reason to it, but everybody does it because they see everybody else doing it. And the reason why that happens, is unfortunately because we don't have that territory system anymore. We don't have those old veterans in place where someone can go, get that basically on-the-job training after they learn the fundamentals, and they're working 3, 4, 5 nights a week with people who all they have to do is shut up and listen, and people can, they can just bring them along. That system's gone now. So, I've been in locker rooms where I'm looking around, I just kind of ask around, I find out the guy with the most experience has about 5 years, and that's it.
Wow.
So it's, so that's a big part of it for me is, and it's a passion for me. I do this. I'm not doing this to make a certain amount of money or whatever, because, that all will take care of itself. That's not why we do this. It's the reason I do it is because I always say, and I have a moral obligation to the people that took the time to teach me, guys like Lou Says, Dusty Rhodes, King Haku, who's one of my best buddies. Those guys who shared all that great knowledge with me. If I don't pass that along, then I feel like I'm letting them down, and I don't ever want to do that. So that's why it's a moral obligation to me to pass it along, and then hopefully those young men and women will pass it along, years from now as well.
That's what I love about you, Ray. This is probably the third or fourth time we've talked to you over like the last 2 years, and you've always got that attitude of you just want to help people out and show them, the right way to go about it. And if they have any questions, you're so open to taking it from them. Now, is there also going to be a promotion attached to this school?
Yeah, great question. You guys are asking great questions tonight, because I keep forgetting to mention stuff like that. But
we're professionals, right?
That's right. But we came up with the name. The One Fall Wrestling was QT's idea. The name that he always has kind of had in the back of his head, and I was just like, you know what, man, if you feel that strongly, let's go with it. But the Power Factory name came about for the wrestling school, which is kind of a cool thing, because when we said we wanted to develop our own brand, he was like, well, what do we call it? I was like, well, let me think about that for a while. And I came through the Power Factory back in the day. He came through I came through the Power Plant. He came through the Monster Factory. So we took Power from Power Plant and Factory from Monster Factory, combined them. So
Perfect.
kind of like our hybrid child,
Yeah, nice. Makes sense.
Yeah, and so because people sometimes they go Power Factory, why they name it that? So there's a little method to the madness, but yeah, and I'll tell you straight up now, QT, on top of just being a stand-up guy, it helps. I mean, his wife is an amazing lady, and she's a certified nutritionist. So we have that as another element of to add to all of our trainees, that someone who really knows how to help you get on a diet, stay on it, and just that's a huge part of this business, because let's face it, it's an aesthetic business. I mean, it's all about how you look now, and so we have that layer of it covered as well. But QT, I mean, he came to me with the idea of starting, basically starting the wrestling promotion where we'd be running, kind of in and around the Atlanta area, pretty much through North Georgia. And we're getting ready to kick that off starting pretty much here in January. We ran a couple of smaller shows just to kind of get little trial runs, but he is putting into place, and I give him all the credit for this because he is working his butt off to do all this. It's where we will have about 3 steady, maybe 4 steady locations where we'll be running every month. So there's a good chance we'll be running almost every weekend somewhere in and around Atlanta, almost every weekend or possibly every weekend, and hitting that one building, once a month, and have like 4 of those set up. So yeah, we're getting that going. I think we're doing our first one is January 27th. It's all the information is on the Facebook page, where that's going to be. And then we just shot a pilot for a TV show that we're looking to shop around. So yeah, I mean, and I give QT all the credit for that. He is the one who's really, really dug in and done a lot of legwork on that. So yeah, we got some good things planned, and we're going to be doing a lot of super camps. We actually have already. I don't have the dates with me right now, but I know we have coming in. I'm a big believer in doing the super camps, the weekends, a 2-day event. Just to get people just to get them in front of other people who may just reemphasize what we are teaching them. But we just did the one super camp. We had Christopher Daniels come in just a few weeks ago, and we had I think 33 people come as far as New York, for it, and a lot of the Monster Factory guys came down, guys and girls. So it's that's the one big thing and I just want to make sure I say this before I forget is. I always go back to, yes, I always say we're going to work hard, but we're going to have fun. And I want our place to be, because so many people I've seen over the years that get into wrestling, and I just know without them ever having to say it, that they're looking for somewhere to kind of be a part of and belong somewhere. And wrestling is something that they love, so they figure, hey, maybe this might be a good fit for me. And one of the things that Dusty taught me way back in the day was, he said, in the wrestling business, when you open up a wrestling school, you have to understand that sometimes there are people that need wrestling a whole lot than wrestling may need them. And I've always remembered that, is that some people, they love wrestling and they're looking for a place to belong, and they're kind of maybe out there a little lost. I want us to be that safe haven for young people who could come in, especially young female wrestlers or wannabe wrestlers, because all you have to do is turn on the news. You can see all the bad publicity that's going on in the entertainment industry about all this stuff recently. And that was it's a big thing for me. And that's why I'm so glad that QT's wife, Caroline, is a part of our program, because, she's the face of our company as much as we are. And we want it to be a safe place where female trainees can come train, male trainees, you can come and train, as well as someone young, maybe an 18-year-old who's coming around of high school that want to do this, and their parents are like, what are you getting into? I want them to come meet us and say, wow, okay, these are stand-up people. This is where I want my kid to come train. And, we just want to have that environment where we look out for each other. It's like a big family. Of course, when you have that, it's and you throw in the wrestling business, it can become quite a dysfunctional big family. But that's kind of the fun of it, But it's just that I've always envisioned having a place like that that's a safe haven for people to come, and no matter where their career takes them, is they just know that they got people that care about them and who are going to look out for them. That's a big thing for me.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. I love that mentality. I want to touch base quickly on just going back to the promotion real quick. So are these shows, are they going to be kind of showcasing students, or are you guys going to be bringing in like outside talent, like independent wrestlers to kind of work on the shows as well?
Because we know some guys.
Yeah, great question. Well, we're going to be bringing it like with the we actually we fell into a great situation where some people that I know and some that QT's gotten to know already that run shows in Georgia. We're going to partner with them some and do kind of like Friday, Saturday shows. We can afford to bring in some bigger names, that we can both kind of have on our shows. Like I said, for the super camps we have coming in, we're going to have. I know we've already got X-Pac coming in here in the next couple of months, and then right after that, Billy Gunn's coming in. So I mean, we're going to be putting people in front of the trainees to get some of the best training they can get, and just to hear varied opinions on things. Because we know the fundamentals and stuff, but everyone has their way of doing things, and we want them to be exposed to that as much as they can. But our goal is for our shows to mainly showcase our talent, our trainees. Yes, and once again, but when I say that, meaning that someone who may have been in the indie circuit for several years, but just comes down and works out with us, would certainly be someone that will qualify for that spot on that roster as well. I'll tell you what's great. I mean, this is just a testament to QT and the following he has at the Monster Factory when he was a trainer up there, along with Punishment Martinez, who's one of the big stars of Ring of Honor right now, who does a lot of training. Those guys they did a lot of the day-to-day training, and now those guys that they trained are now out there, working indie scene full time. Those guys. I mean, and some of those girls are willing to travel from New Jersey to come down and work on our shows in Atlanta, for God's sake. I mean, so that already tells you the kind of following that and the trust that QT had, that these trainees have in QT and what he's doing. And hopefully, just the reputation I've put out there the last, few decades has been one that they want to be a part of as well. So mainly our goal is to and as we shoot TV and things like that, to showcase as many of our trainees as possible. And and like I said, just create an environment where, there's a process there. You come in, you train, and the goal is, hey, if I want to get on that show, I got to kind of earn my stripes at the I got to go through the training, or at least go through the reps, and the reason being is mainly is we want the people to be trained right. But the other one is that if you're going to be representing our brand, we want to make sure you're not going to embarrass us.
Of course,
so we want to make sure we put the people we put out there are going to be the best example of themselves as they can be, which will reflect on us, hopefully.
I keep wanting to throw out a name of a guy that we had an interview with. He's from Georgia. Super cool guy. MMA background, wrestling background. Anthony Henry. He lives down there in Georgia.
He lives down in Georgia, yeah. And when we had him on the show, he drove from Georgia up to Maine for the show, and I was like, that is insane. Like I just thought it was crazy. I love
hearing that though.
Like him and three other guys, get in the car, drive to Maine.
Yeah, he picked up.
I'm telling you what, I mean, I did stuff like that too, and I'm not saying that that's for everybody to do that, and I'm saying you have to do that to prove your worth in this business. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't hurt you at all. I mean, for someone who like me who's done that, and and a lot of most veterans have done that. It just shows that you're willing to make the commitment. You're willing to say, hey, I want you. They're not. He didn't get in that car to go impress anybody. He got in there because he felt like there's a reason for him to go to Maine that might be a good opportunity for him. So. But yeah, that kind of stuff follows you. People hear about it, and like I heard about it just because you guys. So and that's another thing for us with our shows is we definitely want to showcase some indie talent that's already in Georgia, and that's one thing that QT and I can look at and say, okay, this guy or this tag team, they've got a good following. I watch some of their stuff. Yeah, they seem like they're up to speed. Sure, maybe we talk to them and just bring them directly in. So yeah, not saying that our show will be just trainees, but we want to build it to where that's a goal for our trainees is to shoot to make it to the live shows.
Now you're making a trip up here, like a week, aren't you? Up to Connecticut.
Let's see, what am I doing here? Yeah, I think I'm coming up in January 13th. Yeah, so which is what, next weekend already? Good Lord.
Yeah, next Saturday.
Yeah, so, I know. Months flying by.
Michael Lombardi contacted me, and we just finalized that a couple of days ago. So I think it's a Royal Rumble type event or something like that, and I got an appearance. So yeah, I'm looking forward to coming up there. Yeah, it'll be nice.
Man, unfortunately, I am going to be in New York that weekend, or else I would definitely drive down to Connecticut. I've made that trip numerous times because I believe a face-to-face encounter and a handshake is well overdue between the two of us, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, if you are ever up here in the New England area again, that would be amazing. We'd love to meet up.
Well, yeah, and that's the other thing too. I mean, my agent Bill Behrens, who's out of Atlanta. I've been, he's getting a lot more requests, so I plan on going out there as much as I can because it's what I love, So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh no, we've been all over the Limitless owner Randy Carver about bringing you up for like a year, and
good.
Yeah, we've got a guy named Top Shelf Troy Nelson. He is head over heels wanting to face you in the ring.
Dream
match. Oh, well, good. Well, tell him let's just do a tag man or a 6-man because I guess I like to think I can still do 15 or 20 minute singles matches, but I'd rather not push that if I don't have to.
Scramble it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Talk to me real quick about the American Dream Scholarship that you guys have. You guys got going on down there.
Yeah. I just posted something on our Facebook page about that today. Once again, I give QT so much credit for that. He did a lot of the legwork to kind of present that to Cody and Cody Rhodes, and they were really receptive of it. And Dusty, we've talked about it. I was on the show before. I grew up idolizing Dusty. I mean, my two childhood heroes outside of my parents were Dusty Rhodes and Evel Knievel. So, to get to know Dusty was a huge, huge thrill for me. And being his right-hand man and turnbuckle all those years was something I never imagined. And being able to stay close to him and the family up until his passing, and still be close to the family is something that's very, very big to me. It's a huge honor and something I do not take lightly. And so when QT mentioned this to me at the beginning,
is QT
I told him all that.
QT been training Brandy?
Right. Brandy's come in. She's trained at our facility. So of course, now that Cody has seen the facility and everything that we have, he's coming over there, as well. And because we did it right, and we bought a brand new ring from Hot Spots. We got everything's brand new, top notch. I mean, it's it's the best of the best. So so Brandy's training there, not full time, but she comes, as much as she can when she's looking to get some ring time. And of course, that brings Cody. Usually, a lot of times Cody will come with her. So he just started talking to them about that, and the end product was because QT said, hey, I remember a few years ago, and the idea actually came from when they did that thing about maybe 3 years ago, I think, where there was a big weekend kind of super camp, and they ended up giving away the scholarship that was named in Reed Flair's honor. I forget, it was in Carolina somewhere. Mm-hmm. And this is after Reed had passed away. So, QT said, well, that was a huge turnout for that. Obviously, it seems like a big market for that type of super camp. Why don't we try to put something like that together? And then he came back to me with the idea, well, why don't we offer a scholarship? And what do you think about, doing it in honor of Dusty, the American Dream Scholarship? And I just thought it was a great idea. Chip's gotten on board with Chip's company. He's sponsored by Documentay, which is one of the top supplement companies in the world. So we have access to all that to be able to offer as a prize as well. So it's getting bigger and bigger by the day. So we're shooting to do that probably sometime late summer. We haven't decided on the exact date just yet, but it'll be we're bringing in Dr. Tom Pritchard. We're bringing in Les Thatcher, and Les and I have become great friends over the year. I know Tom well. I just did the Monster Factory super camp with Kevin Kelly, who's just amazing. Excuse me, sorry guys. And Kevin's currently doing the commentary. Of course, he was with WWE, Ring of Honor. Now he does the commentary for New Japan. So we're gonna, the super camp is gonna allow young independent wrestlers to get in front of people who they can learn from. Who, once again, I always say, it comes down to a lot of times who's willing to say they know you. Someone like a Kevin Kelly, a Dr. Tom Pritchard, Les Thatcher, they can pick up the phone and make a call on behalf of someone if they see someone that they think could cut the mustard, So it's a chance to learn from them, a chance to maybe, have them, do something with them down the road. But also for me, it's just such a huge thrill because I loved Dusty so much, as a person and as a friend. and to be able to honor his memory like this, especially in Georgia, where he had such a great following, back in the day, obviously Florida was probably the biggest state for him, but Georgia was pretty darn big too. And, it's just something that where, we can keep his memory alive and in the process help a lot of young wrestlers hopefully get a little bit closer to realizing their dream.
Exactly.
Awesome. Sounds awesome.
It's like everything you're saying, Ray, sounds amazing. Like it just sounds like an awesome, it sounds like an awesome idea. I'm very interested just to catch more of the details once they're announced for that. So what's going on next? What's next for Ray Lloyd? What's going on next?
Well, I would tell you what, like I said, you would think that'd be enough, but
I know, right? I know you've got like a Patreon thing going on that's going to be announced.
Yeah,
soon,
yeah. And and I just want to take a minute to say this, and I know you guys knew about this. A lot of the reason why I had stepped away from things over the last couple of years, as far as just being out there in the public eye, was, I've always said I've had the greatest parents in the world. My dad passed away about 20 years ago, but my mom is someone who I just have always, like most people have great moms, who we love and adore. Well, my mom was diagnosed with dementia a couple years back, almost about 3 years ago. So I stepped away from everything because my mom she was my rock my whole life. And I saw where she was going to need a lot of, personal attention. So I stepped away from a lot I even quit my job. I was working at Full Sail University down here. I quit that job with the, full endorsement and then to walk away and do the right thing, which was to dedicate my time to taking care of her. And I went down that path, and as hard as that is, eventually things got to the point where my mom passed away back in mid-September this past year. And I'm glad that she's not suffering anymore, because it was anybody that's ever been affected by anybody who's gone through anything like that with dementia and Alzheimer's, it's a cruel, cruel disease. And my grandfather died of it, who was my mom's dad. So, it was something that took a lot out of me, but I don't regret one minute taking the time to take care of her. But, it's just one of those things that, before my mom got to the point where she wasn't able to communicate that good and remember, we had a talk, and she just said, when this is all over, I want you to go live your life. I want you to go live your life and do everything you put on hold. So, a lot of what I do is and from here on out is really to honor her. And so, that's, try not to get too emotional here, but so yeah, that's another reason why I do all this. But yeah, I was going to, we talked the other day is, I'm a teacher at heart. A lot of people know my wrestling, background and all that, but a lot of people don't know that I've got a master's degree in education. I taught school for nearly 15 years, public school in Georgia and Florida. It's something that it's a passion of mine. It's as much of a passion as wrestling. So what I wanted to do is try to combine those two. And obviously through the school, I can do that. But, we're only going to be able to reach so many people in the school, whether they come to Atlanta or the seminars or whatever. Well, there's a worldwide audience out there, and I want to be able to reach as many people as I can. So I have recently launched, it's just officially launched like literally a week ago. This is the first initial announcement official announcement I'm making of it publicly is, I started a Patreon membership website where I'm going to have like 6 different levels of membership starting at $1, it's going to be, you can just go to patreon.com/Glacier Ray Lloyd. Or if you just go to Patreon, just type in Glacier Ray Lloyd and hopefully it'll take you right to my page. And it's called the Main Event Mindset. And I've taken all this knowledge I've been so fortunate to learn. I've got notebooks full of notes from all these years. And I used to have a video blog about 5 years ago. So I've got about 20-something videos that are already archived that I'm starting to put up. I put 2 up last week. I'm putting another one up this week. They're all about 5 minutes long, but it's designed to, I would say, it's like a personal blueprint for success in pro wrestling and life. Obviously, it's to help anyone in pro wrestling who's looking to kind of manage their career. Because we always say, whatever you do in the ring is such a small part of your whole career. But the thing that I've seen over the years is no one's teaching what to do outside the ring. How do you build your career? How do you promote yourself? How do you self-manage your career? No one seems to know how to do that, and no one's teaching that. So I say, well, by God, I'll teach it. So, and I've learned from some of the best. So, and not just in wrestling. I've had some great coaches and teachers and trainers outside of wrestling who taught me a lot of stuff that I've applied to the wrestling business. So what I decided to do was just to put this out there. And like I said, I'm calling it the main event mindset because I want it to obviously be for people who are pursuing wrestling, but I want the site to be one that's, you know, like me, I'm a fan first, you know, of wrestling before I ever got into wrestling. I'm still a fan. Is maybe, you know, for wrestling fans who just want to be close to, like, they kind of want to get a little closer to the wrestling business, maybe learn a little bit more of the inner workings of the business, but also, you know, a lot of what I teach can be applied to whatever you're doing in life. So, you know, if there's someone who's a wrestling fan and wants to kind of feel a little bit, dig a little deeper inside the wrestling business, but learn some things that you can apply to whatever you're doing as far as your workout or you know, your passion for your career, whatever it is, I want to be able to carry over like that. So, and I have a lot of fun in the process. So it's going to be things like where I will put, you know, I'll do like my handwritten notes. I'm going to take copies of my handwritten notes for each video, put that as one level. The Monday motivation, which I got that idea from Dallas, you know, my buddy Dallas Page. Dallas does that for his DDP Yoga. He does a Monday motivation, you know, new one, you know, just a new little way to kick off the week. Just a minute or two worth of, you know, something to just kind of give you a little kick in the pants and say, hey, let's go have a great week, you know, and then the videos series will go up from there from, you know, different memberships. And I think the highest membership I got is like $30 a month, but that won't be one where we actually do a live Q&A every Thursday for like an hour where I answer any questions that you can come up with, you know, and, you know, nothing's really off limits. And so it's just to share everything I know and put it all down on paper and put it in video to where there's a record of it so that not only am I helping people of this generation, you know, and one of the things I learned from Dallas a long time ago, you know, when I saw how hard he was working with DDP Yoga, and once it started to really take off, I said, man, I love how hard you're working to do all this. And he said, well, you know why I'm doing that? I said, why? He goes, because I want it to outlive me. And that's exactly why I'm doing this, is I want this to outlive me. You know, I don't know how many years I got left. Hopefully I got a good number of them left. But you know, why I can still remember it, and I still am able to put it into video and put it in notes and share it with people. I want it to be available to anybody who thinks that might can learn from it and benefit from it. And if nothing else, if you have no aspirations to even be in the wrestling business, but there's something that you love about the wrestling business, you know, take what you can from it and apply it to whatever else you do in this world, you know? So it's, it's just a place for me to kind of put all that information out there, and hopefully, you know, worldwide, I can touch a lot more people than I could just with the physical wrestling school in Atlanta.
Yeah, I love that, man. I love, it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, where, you know, the wrestling business sometimes is just like a safe haven for someone. And I find that a lot with fans too, you know, like a lot of people that we meet at shows, it's their thing, you know, and it's helped them overcome depression, and it's helped them overcome a lot in life. And I think this will be great. I think that this is going to be awesome, where, you know, somebody can kind of subscribe to your Patreon and get that boost, you know, every Monday or whatever it is, or take away whatever they can from it. That's really cool. I like that it's open to everybody, not just strictly wrestling. It's very cool.
Yeah, and because I just realized there's a whole world of people out there that love wrestling but don't want to be a pro wrestler. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And or maybe they can't be. You know, that's one of the first things I say to anybody when we do our seminars. One of the first things I say to them is, one of the things you need to remember is be thankful that you can taste this dream. I said, because you think about any wrestling show you go to, almost every single show you see somebody, for whatever reason, who may want to taste this dream who can't. Maybe they have a physical disability or a mental disability, or they're just too dang old to pursue it at this point of their life. You know, whatever it is, you know, you be thankful that you can pursue it. So for the ones who can, it'll be great information for them. The ones who can't, or just choose not to pursue it because that's not their calling, but they love it, and they love the idea of maybe getting some more juicy stuff about the wrestling business. And I just want it to be that kind of place. And the other thing too is I want it to be super positive, and I want to be, so when people come to the page, they know they're gonna have some fun and laugh a little bit, and cut up and learn some stuff. Because I learned that as a teacher. It's one of my favorite sayings when I was a teacher is hide the lesson in the fun. You know, it's you know, and that's what I want. I don't want it to be a bunch of me standing up there saying, "Listen to me, because I know it all." Because I dang sure don't know it all. But you know, and always be a student. I mean, I went to a Ricky Steamboat seminar a month ago. Man, I was amazed at how much I learned. You know, 31 years in the business, I still got a lot to learn. But then I can share that with whoever else, you know, is willing to learn as well. And but that's it. It's just and all the other thing too. And I know you guys see this a lot. I'm just so sick and tired of all the negative negative stuff out there. We got so many bitter wrestlers in this business, in this world, that I'm bound and determined to never be one of them, you know, and I want the people who have a passion for this to know there's a place you can go and say, well, you know what? I mean, Glacier is somebody I know who's not going to make fun of me. He's not going to, you know, talk down to me. You know, somebody's going to listen and at least be open to what I have to say and not laugh at my dream, whatever that is. And yeah, because, you know, shoot, I mean, that's what's great about this world now. You can take, I don't care what your passion is. There's a way to make a living doing it if you really want to now with modern technology. So, you know, maybe I can inspire people to do that. So yeah, it's just, that's the main thing is, I mean, I see so many people, you know, we have no problem when we were kids, you know, dreaming of being astronauts and this, you know, whatever we want to be. And all of a sudden we get older, people say, well, you can't do that. Well, why the heck can't you? You know? Right. At least you can learn a lot about it and at least, you know, and let it engulf you as much as you can. So yeah, it's, I get excited talking about it. So it's just something that once again, and the other thing too, one of the main lessons I learned from Chip, my mentor with the, you know, who's now my business partner with the gym up there is, I give it away for free. It's not that I don't feel like I'm not charging because I want to charge for it. What I learned though from Chip was one of the things that, and he had to learn too, because we both came from the same school of thought. I'd tell anybody who'd listen. But the bottom line is what I've also learned is that if you don't put some kind of price tag on it, if you don't make people invest in themselves, they tend not to value it at all. Yeah. And so this is a way to say, hey, make this commitment. And I promise you, my goal is always to give you so much more than your money's worth. So for whatever that minimal investment is you're making, just know it's invested in yourself. And I'm going to take whatever I make from it and put it right back into it because that's just what I do. And, you know, but yeah, that's, you know, that's maybe the money doesn't drive me, you know, for whatever the membership that I'm able to create off this, that's not what drives me. What drives me is a place to put all this information that hopefully can really help and inspire people to go do whatever it is they want to do in this world.
Awesome, man. God, it's like
stuff, Ray.
Like everything.
Ray, you're like the most positive person I've ever met in my life, and it's awesome. But we hope to see you up here someday. You know, whether it's just for, you know, a seminar or whatever, or 6-man tag. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Where we're gonna wrap up here, but where can people find you on social media? Where are you guys at?
Once again, and if you guys, I'm sure we can get with you about, you know, just posting a link for the Patreon thing. But also, you know, I have 2 Facebook pages. I've got my fan page, which is Glacier Ray Lloyd, or, you know, you can follow me on just my personal page. I put a lot of great information out there too, which is just look me up as Ray Lloyd, and you'll see a picture. Usually, it pops up. I'm the easy one to find. It's a picture of me, you know, doing the, you know, kicking Liz Mark Jr. in the face some nitros. my whatever page, you can find me pretty easy on there. But yeah, you know, and then I'm with my social media team I'm working with here. I mean, these guys are just awesome. For the first time ever, I'm catching up on technology. I'm actually getting ready to, you know, to launch later on this month when we do the school website. I'm actually going to finally launch my own personal website, which will be a good landing page for, you know, where I'll obviously promote all the other stuff, the Patreon and the school and all that. But one of the other things I'm going to offer on my website will be, and I'll send that information to you guys so you can share it if you don't mind once we get to that point, is I'm going to also offer personal consultations too. Just, you know, half-hour consultations for whatever you want to talk to about, you know, your career, you know, as far as what I can maybe share to help you answer some questions to get you over that hurdle of where if you're stuck somewhere. Also, if you want me to, you know, go over a match critique a match with somebody. It's one of the things that I really enjoy doing, and I do it a little differently than most people do. Most people watch it and take notes and then talk to the wrestler about it. What I like to do is actually log on, sit in front of a computer once they send me the YouTube or whatever link of it, and then they sit in front of their computer and we watch it together. And I say, okay, you did it at 5:48 right here. Here's what I would recommend. You know, so we're watching it almost like we're sitting side by side. So I just really like that. I love to be able to do that. And once again, I tell people all the time, I don't know it all, but I know a lot, you know, and I'd love to share that with people and hopefully it can help them, you know.
Very awesome.
I think people forget how diverse wrestling is. Like wrestling is, it's just weird enough that not everybody is into it. But once you're into it, there's so many different layers to it. You know, you could be a comedy fan, you could be a hardcore, you know, death match fan. You know, you could like, you know, bad guys, good guys, funny guys, you know, tweeners. It's just so amazing. The layers of of involvement you can have in wrestling. I mean, John and I were just fans, you know, we're like, oh, let's do a podcast. You know, we've been watching it forever and we've gotten a little more involved. We're friends with wrestlers now, you know. We send Merry Christmas tweets to, you know, messages to wrestlers and stuff, you know. So I got invited to a birthday party for a 16-year-old kid who had beaten cancer twice, who's wrestling for Chaotic Wrestling sometimes, you know.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. You look up Avery Forrestal. He's an amazing kid.
That's awesome. God, that's awesome.
You know, it's just amazing. You know, he invited me down to Boston for his, you know, birthday party, and I hung out with referees and ring announcers and other podcasters and wrestling students. It's just an amazing community, and it all depends on how deep you want to get into it.
Yeah, and, you know, and that's the thing too. I always say, and I was just telling somebody this weekend, man. I mean, I will argue with anybody that pro wrestling fans are the most diehard fans you'll find anywhere. I mean, they are the most dedicated. Pro wrestling fans will stick with wrestling when it really, really sucks. But they'll hang on, you know. And,
and you can be
in the past, you know.
You can be the smartest. You can be the smartest Mark, or you know, or you can just be the biggest Mark. Because like when I watch it now, you know, even though I talk to these guys before the matches and stuff, I'll still boo the bad guy or cheer the bad guy if I like him. I'm not going to get all up in the air about, oh, this isn't the right storyline for that guy, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
No, I want to enjoy it for what it is, you know? And I don't
ever want to stop being a fan. You know, I don't.
Right there with you. Right there with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this business so much, you know?
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of like just checking my disbelief like at the door and just.
Me too.
Best. So,
me too.
Yeah. Ray, thank you so much for your time, man. It is always so awesome to talk to you, and we love having you on. And good luck with everything. I'm sure you know we'll stay in touch, but good luck with the upcoming events and everything you have going on. I am 100% positive 2018 is going to be amazing for you and for QT and for everything you guys get going on down at One Fall. So.
Well, I can tell you this too, that there's if everything falls into place and it looks like it is, I've got a huge announcement to make hopefully later on this year. That's a wrestling related announcement, but that's all I can say right now. But I promise you guys will be one of the first ones that I'll let you know about. So it's something really big, but I gotta keep it close to the best right now. But it's my next big project, one that is just it's my heart and soul. So I'll let you guys know more as it develops.
Perfect.
You're the worst.
Man.
You're the worst.
Nice. Awesome. Well, cool. That's about it, fellas. Thank you again. I really appreciate you taking the time, man.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a platform to talk about all this.
Anytime, brother.
And if you guys can make it, plan a trip to come to Atlanta, I'd love to have you guys come down and see the place.
Oh my God, I wish I was in Atlanta right now. It's so cold here.
Well, you guys be safe up there in that cold weather. Guys, once again, thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ray. Dress accordingly next weekend. So, you know.
Oh, I will.
Yes. Dress accordingly when you come up here to the New England area. So
there'll be no shorts in the luggage, I promise.
Oh God, no. All right, thank you, Ray.
I like that we're telling Glacier how to dress in the cold.
Yeah,
in the cold. We're telling Glacier how to dress in the cold. All right, Ray. Thank you very much.
Have a good night, buddy.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Right. That was Ray Lloyd. That was Glacier. Goodness, we told you that he has so much to say, and it's awesome. Oh my goodness, great interview though. Great guy. A lot of cool things happening for him, and just that area too. What an awesome like hub to have a cool facility like that, and the place looks amazing. I highly encourage anybody to go on and look at it on follow them on Facebook and check out the pictures. Like the facility is nuts.
It's huge.
Yeah. The Chip Smith stuff. So Chip Smith performance. Oh my God. Like amazing. Like it's just incredible. So definitely going to be a lot of awesome talent coming out of that facility pretty shortly. So
hopefully we'll see some guys from up here go down there and do some work and
absolutely. And then
show what they can do.
Yeah, I wish I was around the 13th. Because I definitely would drive down to Connecticut and see Ray, because that would, like I said, I think that's long overdue. We've been kind of conversing now for a couple years with Ray.
I might have to. I might have to go.
Yeah, we gotta get a meet up here pretty soon.
I'll keep an eye on the weather. See what it does.
Oh my God, this weather! I tell you. But anyway,
I'd really like to go out and start my car one morning and not have it go wow, 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 wow.
Yeah, same here, man. I think everybody's just doing that. So
I push my clutch in and it just sticks to the floor. I'm like, it's cold.
Yes, awesome. Well, hey, man, first show of season 2 in the books. How do you feel about it?
I like it. What are we doing next week?
What are we doing next week?
Yeah, it was in the calendar.
Oh, that's right. I did make the calendar. You called me on it. Like, hey, I see you've been working on the shared calendar. Yes, I have. I believe for Fantasy Fun Week, I think we're gonna do that age-old test. Mount Rushmore, I think. Is that what's?
Oh boy!
We're gonna do Mount Rushmore.
So you know who's on mine?
We're gonna do Mount Rushmore of greatest of all time. Men's, women's managers. We're gonna have a fun conversation.
So don't be afraid to call in the old hotline. Tell us who your Mount Rushmore will be. You might make the show.
Yeah, we'll read it on the air. We'll play it.
We should probably do this more often. Tell people what's going to happen next week so that they can participate.
That would be nice. Yeah, more of that coming on this season.
More forethought into season 2.
Yeah, not just like the day of, hey, what do you want to talk about tonight? Hey, did you watch that movie yet?
That's literally how season 1 went. Hey, we're gonna watch a movie this week. Which one? I don't know yet.
Let's figure it out now. We've got episodes planned far out in advance, so we'll let you guys know what's coming up.
It means like 3. So
like 3, yeah, like this month, and that's about it. So anyway, Harmon, where are you at on social media? Where can people follow you?
Lost most of the time. At Harmon316 on Twitter.
Nice. I'm at Johnny Fashion. You guys can check out the show's Twitter at Main Event Pod. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/Main Event Pod. Also on Instagram at Main Event Pod. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it tonight. We'll end there. And we'll end there. Very nice show. Welcome back, Harmon. It's fun to be back with you. Tag team back again. Boom, there it is. Thank you guys for listening. Later.
Welcome to season 2. Bye.
Talking about wrestling from today in the past. It's gonna be a blast. Johnny and Harmon are the Main Event Podcast.